Hello, youth. Hopefully you guys are having a good week so far. This is your midweek encouragement video. It is beautiful, sunny outside right now. Hopefully you guys are able to get outside and enjoy the sun. We're going to dive right into it here in the book of Hebrews, and then we will get to a note and some updates about tubing in this weekend. So we're in Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 32. And remember, this is the verse that's kind of got like a whole bunch of folks mixed up in one verse. So last week we talked about Gideon. It says, "What more shall I say? For time would fail me to tell of Gideon, Barak," who is who we're going to talk about this week. So Barak was one of the earlier judges in the book of Judges. And we mentioned last week that the judges cycle was this thing where the people of Israel and the people of God continued to fall away from God. And so God would allow them to be subject to the people in the area. They would get attacked, and there would be leaders who would come against them. And then as time would go on, they would call out, and God would raise up a judge to deliver them. And it's really interesting that the author of Hebrews calls out Barak in this because in the story, we're getting and we meet this person named Sisera, who was the commander of this army that came against the people of Israel. And it says that God had called for Barak to be this person who would go out and lead the people. And he did that through a prophet or a prophetess named Deborah. So Deborah summons Barak and calls for him, and she essentially tells him, go gather your people, come out and meet this Sisera. God is going to bring Sisera out against you, and so that way you may fight against him and defeat him, and thus, again, in this cycle, deliver the people of Israel from the affliction that Sisera and his army was bringing. And when Deborah tells Barak that, Barak doesn't go, okay, cool. He responds by saying, hey, if you, Deborah, will go with me, I will go, but if you will not go with me, I will not go. And then Deborah, who now is entering into the area of other duties as assigned, says, okay, I'll go out with you, Barak. If that's what gets you off your can and out doing this, then I will go. And they go out, and what ends up happening is Barak, even though he did go out with the help of Deborah, he is not the one who gets the kill. He doesn't end up actually getting the person. It's a person named Yael. And so it's really interesting that the author of Hebrews highlights Barak as this hall of faith, and it kind of brings us back to the conversation we had about Gideon last week, where Gideon was afraid, he was fearful, but even despite his fears and despite his failings, he's included in the list of the hall of faith. And the same is true for Barak. And this week is a reminder that sometimes we need help. Barak could have absolutely gone out in faith in his God and had victory, because God had essentially said through Deborah, hey, I'm going to do this thing. And Barak needed help in his faith, or he needed help fully realizing the extent to which his faith was real. And that help comes through the person of Deborah, where he says, hey, I'm not going to go out if you don't go with me. And Deborah says, yes, I will go. And so while I think that, yes, Deborah needs to be commended for, one, her obedience in delivering this message to Barak, and two, going above and beyond in agreeing to go out with him, Barak is included in the hall of faith as an example to us that sometimes we need help in fully realizing our faith and fully living out the things that maybe we're being called to do because of our faith. And that's okay. Now there's times where, it will be dragging our feet, and help is still good. And the more important thing is that we have faith in those moments, rather than saying, well, this is too difficult, so I'm just going to toss the whole thing in and not even try. Barak did not do that. He said, you know what? I'm scared. I don't even know. But Deborah, if you come out with me, I'll go. And Deborah goes. And so Barak had faith to not go out maybe when he was supposed to, but he had enough to not say, I'm done with this. He had enough to ask for help. And so I would encourage you guys this week as you seek to live out your faith. One, sometimes it is okay to ask for help, especially in things of faith. Say, hey, I don't understand this. Hey, I think I'm supposed to be doing this, but I'm not sure. Seek people that you trust in your life with matters of faith and say, hey, I need help having faith in this moment, or I need help living this out in this moment. That's okay, because Barak makes it into the hall of faith in the book of Hebrews, and he had to do that. Now, he wasn't a perfect judge. None of these folks were perfect judges, but we are not perfect either. So I would encourage you guys, if needed, ask for help. Send up a lifeline. That's why we're here. That's why folks who care about you are in your life. So be encouraged, and don't worry about having to do that. It's okay. I wanted to share a brief note with you guys. We're starting to get thank you cards coming in for those Valentines y'all wrote and delivered. And this is not all of them. I've got like 3 or 4 more notes on the shelf. You can kind of see them right there. I'm going to share more of those with you Sundays when we have a big group together. But I wanted to share this one because, I want you guys to get the feel for how much this means for folks. It says, Eastside Christian Youth Group. What a pleasant surprise on Valentine's Day to have a young boy ring my doorbell, knock on my door with a long-stemmed red rose, a chocolate rose from the youth group from Eastside Christian Church. Thank you so much for the thoughts and prayers. You guys made my day. God bless. And that note comes from Miss Beverly Keene. So I just want you guys to know that you guys used your Valentine's Day to make an impact on some people that it did make a big difference for. So thank you guys for that. Last thing, little quick note here. I know I'm already running long. We are going to have to cancel the tubing. It's really a bummer to say that, but I got word today that the slopes are still not open for tubing. And I think at this point, it's probably wiser to put the amount of energy that it would take to try to make that work into doing something different. So this Sunday, we are going to have socks and Sundays. We're going to try to simulate a snowball fight. We did that a little bit in the main building that we usually meet in for youth group. We're going to do that in the front building. And we're going to do it like we normally do socks, where we open up that front building and play socks in there. We're also going to have some ice cream to try to simulate that cooling off time that you guys would feel as you go down a hill. So I know it's not the same. And I hope that as we move into March and spring, that the events that we have in there will, make up for this change. So I'm sorry, guys. I really wish it would have turned out differently, but I hope that we can have a good time with Socks and Sundays on Sunday. We're planning on starting at 3 instead of 4, so that way it gives you guys plenty of time to enjoy some socks and ice cream and that type of stuff. So we will see you guys at 3 o'clock for youth group, if not earlier for church. Love you guys. Take care. Have a good rest of your week.